Hi there, this is Mr. Recorder, and right now we're going to make this super cool step on this step ladder. So first we are going to create a new document in Onshape and set our workspace length unit to millimeters. So I'm going to create a new document. I'm going to call it step. And I'm going to go to the document menu to set the workplace units. The default length unit, I want that to be millimeter. And then I'm going to create a new sketch on the top plane. So top plane, new sketch. I'll push N for the normal view. And next slide. So next we're going to sketch a center rectangle whose center is coincident to the origin. And then we're going to create a construction line diagonally from the bottom left corner to the top right corner. And then we'll add these dimensions. Then we will accept the sketch, make sure it's fully defined, and rename it main sketch. Okay, so center rectangle. That's going to be in my little drop down, center point rectangle, or you can use R. So click on the center, then drag to make your rectangle. All right, there's my rectangle. Then I'm going to make a construction line that goes from the bottom left corner to the top right corner. And then I need to put some dimensions on there. A height of 275 and a width of 400. 75 there. 400 there. And everything is defined. So I am going to accept the sketch, but rename it main sketch. So I'll rename it main sketch and accept. Next, we're going to do an extrude from the rectangle sketch. Make sure it's a new part. We're going to select the rectangle. We're going to do a blind end type, a depth of 40 millimeters, and then we're going to do a 5-degree draft, and we want it to be drafted so that the direction, we need the top to be smaller than the bottom. Okay, so let's do this. 40 millimeters blind with a 5-degree draft that makes the top smaller. Okay, so back over here. Hide these. I'm gonna do an extrude. It's new, it's blind, it's gonna be 40 millimeters. What face? This rectangle. And I'm gonna do a draft of 5 degrees. And then if I'm looking at the preview right now, it looks like, so the top is up and the top is bigger. We wanted the top to be smaller. So I need to hit this to reverse the direction of the draft. So now it's drafting inward so that the top is going to be a little smaller than the bottom. Just check and make sure we got all the things we needed, except the feature. Okay. So I am going to accept the feature. So now I have, if we look at a straight on front view, you can tell that the top is a little bit smaller because of the draft, the 5-degree draft. All right, what's next? We're going to rename, instead of part 1, we're going to call it step. So we're going to right click on part 1, rename, skip. Next, we are going to fillet the 4 vertical edges of the step with a 15 millimeter radius for the fillet. So just the 4 vertical edges there. So I'm going to get my fillet tool. It was a 15 millimeter fillet. And then I'm going to select the vertical edges. Then I'll have to rotate my view to get to that last edge. Got those 4 edges selected. So I'm going to accept that fillet. Next, we're going to make a cut on the top face so that we can make a pattern for the traction. So we're going to start a new sketch on the top face of the step. So new sketch on the top face. So I'll click on the top face, then click on sketch, and now I have a sketch plane on that top face. Next, we're going to use the offset tool to make an offset 5 millimeter towards the inside of the step. And their hint is you can select the top face to offset all the edges with a single selection. Okay, so here's the offset tool. Click on offset, and then you can click either on individual lines, or you can just click on the whole face, and it will offset that whole basically that whole edge all the way around. Well, right now, when it looks like it's offsetting to the outside, so I want to switch the direction. So I can click on this little arrow right here, and it will change the direction. And then zoom, 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 and it looks like it's already 5 millimeters. So we're good there. So we've got this offset, the outside edge here, we offset it in 5 millimeters. What's next? Accept the sketch. I accept you, sketch. Next, we're going to do an extrude to remove the profile from our last sketch. And then we're going to cut it down 5 millimeters deep. Make sure we have step in the merge scope, 5 millimeters deep, it's blind, and we need to have it say remove. So now we're going to do an extrude. We want to remove. The depth is only 5 millimeters. And the face that we're going to extrude is using this sketch right here. So I think it's when I select the whole sketch, it looks like it has the outside edge too. So I'm just going to go select the inside edge. So that gives me a preview. It looks like it's cutting it down correctly. Depth of 5 millimeters. Merge scope is step. So I think we're good. Let's double check. Yeah. So we can accept that. Next. The step is going to be manufactured as a plastic part, so we need to hollow it out and have a constant wall thickness. So we can use the shell feature to do that. And we set the wall thickness to 5 millimeters. Make sure we're removing the bottom and not the top. So rotate it so that we see the bottom. Then I'm gonna, here's the shell function. What face do I want to remove? The bottom. How thick do I want my shell? 5 millimeters. And so now we've got that, the bottom of the step shelled out like that. Next, we're going to create ribs for traction on the top step. So we're going to create a new sketch on the indicated face, which is the top edge, the very top face of the step. So we're going to create a sketch plane there. Okay, I want to get my view kind of rotated back to somewhat normal here. Here we go, there's top front, right? Okay, I'm going to zoom in so I make sure I'm selecting the top edge there. I'm going to make a sketch plane on that edge. And then I'm going to just sketch a little line. I want to show my main sketch and add dimensions. So I need to use the main sketch to refer to things for my dimensions. Like this angle is going to be to the horizontal edge here, 45-degree angle. The 22 millimeter dimension is between the end point of our construction line and the line here. We got to make sure we do that dimension from this point to that line, because if we click on this point and then that point, there's other, you could be measuring in different, that it could let this point be further away. So we need to measure, when we do this dimension, the 22, we need to click on the dot and then the whole line. Okay, so we need to make a little line. We need to show the main sketch. So I'm going to get this view. I am going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to show the main sketch. I'm going to make a little line. And then I'm going to put some dimensions. I'm going to say I want the angle from this line to that line, the angle between those to be 45 degrees. And then I'll try to demonstrate what I was talking about before. If I put the dimension from this point to this point, first, am I just measuring how far they are from side to side, or is it how far they are in this direction, or what direction is it in? And then when I place that dimension, does it do what it was supposed to do? Like right now, I can move this like way far away. It's not stuck at, because only this point here has to be 22 millimeters to the right of that point. So if I, instead of doing that dimension like that, if I say I want a dimension from this corner point to this segment, then it will choose the perpendicular distance. And that's the one we set at 22. And now you can see that that point can't really move the line segment. All I can do is stretch the end points. But the angle and the distance away for that line is is already locked in because we did our dimensions right. So make sure that you dimension from the point to the line. Okay, so now this is gonna be a little weird because we're gonna accept this sketch even though the line isn't fully dimensioned. Like the length of the line doesn't matter in this case because we're gonna use a rib feature that will just be like, we're just using this line as a reference on where to put a rib. So this hint down here says, be sure the endpoints of the line do not extend beyond the part, because otherwise the rib would go on forever. but the endpoints don't have to be fully defined, but they just need to be inside, in between the lines. Okay, so that works. I've got my points in between the lines, so I can accept that sketch. Next, I am going to create a rib feature. I'm going to select the sketch that we created in the last step, which is just that little line. The thickness we're going to set to 10. So right here, 10 millimeters. Choose step as the part to define the rib. Make sure we select normal to sketch plane. So it's either going to be normal to sketch plane or parallel. And we want normal for this one. And then the last part is to check extend profile. So we'll kind of watch what each one of these things does. So I'm going to go and I'm going to click on the rib feature. So the sketch profile that I want to use is this line. The part that I want it to go to is step. And then you can see that right now it's trying to shoot it out parallel to the sketch plane. So it's trying to go that away. But we want it to go normal to the sketch plane. So now it's making that rib go down to the part. We want the thickness to be 10 millimeters. And then when we click extend profile to part, it will make these ends go all the way to where it runs into the part. So when I click on that, it will go all the way over to that. Make sure that merge ribs and extend are both checked. All right, let's accept that. So now we got one rib. Next is the moment of truth. We need to use a linear pattern. Be sure to select a feature pattern. So when we first select the linear pattern, it comes as part pattern, but we want to pattern a feature. So we need to select feature pattern. What feature do we want to pattern? We want to do this rib. No, it picked extrude one. I want to do rib one. The direction, we're going to choose this construction line. Now you see how, okay, it's trying to take the whole entire pattern. If I check apply per instance, that is the one that makes it just taking the rib. The distance, and I go back over here, 20 millimeters for the distance and then 23 instances. So the distance was 20 millimeters and the instance count would be 23. Now we get the ribs. Yay, we got ribs. All right, I think we are good with that one. Check. Next. All right, now we're going to create ribs to brace the inside of the step. So now we're going to create a new sketch on the right plane. So I'm going to go create a new sketch on the right plane. So I'm going to go over here, click on right plane, click sketch, and then I'm going to push N, and it'll give me that normal view there. All right, now we are going to sketch this horizontal line. So the line only goes from the blue dot to the blue dot. This right here, the rest of it, this is just an extension line showing this dimension. So the line only needs to go like from here to here. Then once we put the dimension on it, that extension line will show up. So it's 5 millimeters from the bottom edge up to where the line is. Okay. So I'm going to get my line tool. And I'm just going to make a line, make sure it's horizontal. And then I'm going to dimension it and say this thing needs to be 5 millimeters from the bottom. So now we've made this line. Then we accept that sketch. La 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 la. That's good. So we accept it. We just accept that sketch. All right, so next we're going to make a rib feature using that one little line. So let's flip this over. I hide the main sketch for now. But I want to take that line right there and make a rib. So rib. Then click on sketch profile will be this line. So right now this is from that line going straight down to the part. The thickness be 5 millimeters. And we want to choose, this one's going to be parallel to the sketch plane and extend and merge. Okay, so the thickness was, I already forgot, 5. And extend. And now we've got this rib that goes all the way across. Click extend profiles and extend the feature. Okay, so now we can accept that. Next, we're going to do a draft on the rib. So we'll pick the top or the bottom edge here as the neutral plane, and then the sides as the entities to draft, and then the draft angle will be 5 degrees. Okay, so draft. The neutral plane will be this top part of the rib. The entities to draft will be this side here and that side there. And it's supposed to be a 5 degree. And it looks like it's going the right way. It's making it wider at the bottom. So, ding. And then if we take like a bottom view, you can tell that that it gets bigger towards what is the bottom on this view. Okay, so what's next? Linear pattern. We're going to select linear pattern, select the rib and the draft from the menu side over on the left. As the features to pattern, choose a linear edge of the part as the direction of the pattern. Set the distance to 100 millimeters, the instance count to 2, and the centered checkbox. Okay, so the linear pattern feature. Instead of part pattern, make sure it's feature pattern. What features are we going to pattern? We're going to do the rib and the draft. What direction? We're going to use one of these lines going in that direction. Distance 100. Instances 2 and centered. And then I think that's it. That's it for that one. We accept that feature. I accept you, feature. Now we need to do 2 ribs along the other direction. So we're gonna select the sketch plane to be the top of one of these ribs and make a sketch. So select that, make a sketch. So now we're going to sketch some lines. We've got a construction line that goes through the origin. Be sure the origin is the midpoint construction line and the 2 solid lines are symmetric about the construction line. Okay, so some lines. This bottom view. Get my line tool. I'll do the construction line first. Now, something they don't tell you in the instructions there is that the 2 lines you make, you need them to go past the last rib on each side. So they need to be in like the far left quarter and the far right quarter. Otherwise, when you do extend apart, it'll just go out to the next part that it hits. Oh yeah. I'm gonna do a couple of, and I'm just gonna make them all the same length. Make sure they're horizontal. Now I need to put some of these restraints on them. So I want this, click on all 3 of them, and then you can hit the symmetric constraint. And then that will force the lines to mirror each other on either side of the construction line. It said, I don't know if this is really that necessary, but it said to make the origin like midpoint or something. And then I think the last thing was a dimension, 100 millimeters between the lines. And then we can accept that sketch. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to use that sketch to make ribs. So we're going to do extend, merge, and normal. Okay, so rib. We can select sketch 4. The part will be step. It needs to be normal and extend. And the thickness is 5, I think. Yes. All right, so we checked all those boxes. All right, now this next one, when we put the draft on, this one's going to be a little bit tricky, because we have to select each one of these little things individually. So to do this draft, it's going to be a 5-degree draft. Our vertical ones here already are drafted, but our horizontal ones need the drafts. So we need to draft here, 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 and here. So I'm going to do draft. The neutral plane is this top part. Draft angle is 5 degrees. Entities to draft. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I gotta whip it around. Nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 of those face of rib 3s. So now if we should be able to, when we get a straight on bottom view, you can see the draft on all of those, on all those ribs. Alrighty, next we're going to create a couple of holes on the side of the step. So we're going to make this our sketch plane. Top, front, right. Okay. So I am going to go top, front, right. So this is going to be my sketch plane here. Next. So we're going to sketch 2 points and then make sure they're horizontal to each other. This one is vertical to the midpoint of the edge. Okay, so I'm gonna push N on my keyboard to get this normal view. No, I'm gonna click right so I get that right side view straight on. So then right here, there's a button where you can put points. And if you hover over the origin and then move up, or the midpoint there, place your point. Now that one is constrained to be above there. And then if you just go out sideways with a line, make sure that yellow line is there, and click, and those will have the horizontal constraint on them. So I just hit escape from there, so I can like drag, I'll show you that I can drag these around, but the 2 dots will always be horizontal to each other. And the, did you see what it just did? How that guy turned yellow? It made a vertical constraint with the midpoint over here. So I need to Control Z to take that off. Because this thing needs to be able to move up and down. I can't move it side to side though, because it's staying vertical above that midpoint. So now I just need to see what the dimensions are. 20 up and 50 from the corner. So dimension tool. From there to there is 20. From here to there is 50. Now the points are locked into position. Accept the sketch. I accept you, sketch. All right, so now we're going to use the hole feature. So we're going to click hole, and then we're going to kind of work through all these little boxes. Okay, so here's the hole feature button. I was not talking to you, Alexa. So the first one is simple and then blind. So we've got simple and then blind. Okay, good. ISO, clearance, M10, normal. ISO, so it might start off as custom, but switch it to ISO. Clearance, this starts off usually at M5, I think. You want M10. The fit is normal. Now sketch points to place holes, and we're going to pick these 2 points. So sketch points to place hole, boom, and boom. And then what's the merge scope? The merge scope is step. All right, I think that we're good there then. So I then select, accept that, and boom, I got those. All right, what's next? Next, we need these holes on the other side of the part too. So we're gonna mirror the feature. So we're gonna come over here. So right now, this side is blank, right? We need to copy those holes over to there. So we're gonna click the mirror, and then entities to mirror, we're gonna select hole 1 from the menu over here. Oh, see how it says part mirror? I have to switch it to feature so that I can select features. Then the mirror plane, I think, is gonna be the right plane on this one. Let's check. The right plane, yeah. I'll show it to show where it is. So the mirror plane is the right plane. So now it's going to mirror the holes onto the other side. I accept. We need to create one more feature so the step can hinge properly. We're going to create a new sketch on the right plane. So I'm just going to select right plane here, then click on sketch. And then I'll hit N to get my normal view. So we can make it look like this if we want to by using the view tools. So right here, or is it this? Hidden edges visible. There we go. All right, so now we are going to make this sketch with line and arc. We basically just need to be able to, we're going to cut this part out here. Okay, so I need my line tool. I'm going to have a, where is it? It is on the side. Ooh, you know what I'm going to do? So there's not really on this, on my sketch right now, there's not a line down here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my line tool and I'm going to start here. And I'm going to go down until I'm there. Go over to the right some. Then I'm going to go up vertically until I reach that point. And then I need to get my arc tool. And if I do that, there'll be tangent. So I do want that. So I'm going to click that. So now those are set up to be all yummy. And I have since I made a line down here, I don't have to do this other part where they say project the bottom edge, whatever. I just made my own line there. Okay, so dimensions. The center is 50 from that edge. So from this corner to the center was 50. The radius of the arc was 12. And the height was 15 there. All right, so we're all find there. So now we're going to do an extrude, remove. We're going to use the sketch we just made through all in both directions. So we need a second end position with another through all. Okay, I'm going to change my view back to I don't know how to undo that. There we go, shaded. Alrighty, now we're going to do an extrude. I'll flip it over so we can watch the extrude happen. All right, we are going to do an extrude where we remove. We're going to use sketch 6. Instead of blind, we're going to do through all. Then click second end position. Instead of blind, through all. And so that cut through everybody there. And then we're going to make it out of assigned material, make it out of nylon. So right click here, assign material. Do I have to? Nylon. And then you can check your mass properties, and they want to know kilograms. So you just hit your mass properties. You'll have to change that to kilograms. So that's up here. Workspace units, massed kilograms. And done with your part.